Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mesdames et messieurs. This is David, aka the Avuncular Monchichi, and today I'm super happy because I got a delivery from America, Amazon America. I've been waiting for this for about a month and a half, if not longer, which is a really long time to ship, even from America. They apparently lost the package, or the package got caught somewhere along the travel route, and I contacted Amazon and they refunded me the shipping cost, which was really nice, and if it wasn't received by sometime in February, they were going to just completely cancel the order. But it looks like this is my long-awaited package. So I'm going to open it up really quickly, a little bit of an unboxing video. Unboxing a flat box, that is. Okay. It'd be really funny if it's something totally different than what I expect. It is not something totally different. It is exactly what I expect. It is 2 comics, although I didn't realize one of them was going to be a hardcover. It's quite beautiful, actually. Both of them are supernatural comic books. I'm not going to go into the details of what they're about in this particular video, or at least this part of this video. I'm going to edit this into a longer video. But two comics, The Wicked and the Divine, Volume 1, which has kind of a cool volume title, which is, I don't know if I can get it in there, The Faust Act, rather than The First Act, a little play on words. And then the next one is The Numbercruncher, which is another supernatural, magical comic story that I have been wanting to read for a very long time. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go off to the local Starbucks, the closest one to my house, and I am going to work, drink some coffee, maybe have a scone or a choco chunk cookie, and read one or both of these books. And then I will come back and review them for you. Along the way, I might take a few video shots just of the neighborhood and of Japan in general, just to make it a little bit more exciting while you wait. While you wait for the exciting portion of the video where these are reviewed. I'm so glad they came. Have you ever been waiting for something for a long time and it seems as if it may never come, and then lo and behold, surprise, surprise, it's there, and hallelujah, there is joy, there is happiness. In my case, there are comics. Anyways, I will continue this video soon. Hope all is well. I'm off to my little comic book reading and walking and working on a computer adventure in Tokyo. Interesting thing from this shot. Sometimes in Japan I feel like a giant. I'm a little bit, taller than the average in America, but by no means am I this great legendary thing like Fezzik in A Princess Bride, but in Japan sometimes I feel so. This is in front of our doorway, and because of the angle it looks like it's even more pronounced, but I am quite a bit over the height of the doorway, and yeah, it's not an uncommon thing in Japan. And yeah, I'm off. I'm wearing my kind of joke t-shirt, Love Beer. It's a double joke. It's a joke on tattoos of people who say, tattoos people wear that say love, hate, which is supposed to be kind of an intimidating gang tattoo, and this is Love Beer instead. But I don't actually love beer. I like beer, but I also like really cheap sweatshirts that keep you warm, and this is one of those. So, okay, here we go. Bye-bye. Okay, so this is walking down a typical Tokyo street, not in one of the more fashionable areas. You can see lots of bicycles and vehicles coming along. And in an earlier video I mentioned Carrot Tower, and I said that it was a landmark, and people who didn't know Carrot Tower were probably wondering, how is that quick flash in the building anything approximating a landmark? From this view, you can kind of see how it sticks up above the buildings in this particular region. I would say stick up like a carrot, but carrots don't actually stick up, do they? You'd have to pull it up and prop it up for it to stick. Here's another view of it from a couple of streets further along. And this is behind an office building, and I always found it kind of interesting. There are these giant vents that look kind of like a 1970s image of the future. I think they might be from the 70s, but they're these really big venting pipes done in a kind of weird Art Deco style that I appreciate quite a lot. I think I might get a new camera. This camera is not particularly up to the task. It's a little bit too jumpy, might make you a little bit dizzy. This is an interesting sign. They spelled herb, harb. And here are some pictures of politicians coming up to another corner. Interesting empty storefronts. Sometimes you see them and it always makes the area look a little bit dilapidated and behind the times. Rain on the roof, quite an old-fashioned style coffee shop. On the left here is Pink Monster, which is a weird nightclub, private, members only. Coming up on the left here is Haruna Ai's okonomiyaki shop. Haruna Ai is Japan's most famous transgender person at the moment. She won the Miss World Transgender competition in Thailand a number of years ago, and she is a famous TV talent. Here's a fellow who's in a hurry. This is the third best Thai restaurant, and just what we passed on the left was a wine bar that I went to once. Here's a nighttime restaurant that's open very briefly every evening. Interesting bars. Had a good day there. This particular walkway is kind of interesting. It looks like it hasn't changed since 1982, even earlier, but some of these movies are from the early 80s. These movies represented in these posters. And it's just a really funny, dingy little walkway, but it feels very authentic for a certain era of Japan. Just looking at some stuff, walking along, coming up to a main drag. It gets considerably noisier here. It's a little bit more active. This is kind of central Sancha, Sangenjaya neighborhood. And we're coming up to the one Starbucks. Sangenjaya seems like it's an area important enough to have more than one Starbucks, but we have only one. I think it's important enough to. Up on the left here is Carrot Tower, which you can't see at all because of my wonderful, ironically I'm speaking, wonderful camera work. But on the left is Carrot Tower, and just behind Carrot Tower is the Setagaya-san, the Setagaya area train. And when my wife was a child, well, here's Dotoru, which I used to think was called Dooders, and the very traditional Japanese restaurant Subway, being ironic there again. And coming up here, I think, if I remember correctly, I'm going to bang a left and take a quick look at the Setagaya-san, the Setagaya train line. And it's really old-fashioned feeling. It's an above-ground, slow-moving train. My wife said when she was a child, it was actually made of wood. I'm not entirely sure what she means by that. If the whole train was wood, that's awesome. But it might have just been, it had wood paneling on it. I have to ask her about that. But now it's a modern-looking train that still has a bit of an old-fashioned feel to it. So I'm not walking into it, I'm just walking up to the exit, so there aren't people waiting there. People aren't getting off the train yet. This person's going up there, but they're not supposed to. Taking a photograph, I guess. That's enough trains. And now we're coming up to the great landmark, the great shrine of caffeine, Starbucks. That's still a few feet away. I think first we're going to take a look at Seiyu. Seiyu is the local department store, which is really old-fashioned. It was bought by the American giant, horrible company, Walmart, a few years ago. 7-Eleven truck? Yeah, there we go, Seiyu. And it didn't change much after Walmart bought it. They just have Walmart shopping bags that you can buy in there, but it's still this really old-fashioned department store. One more last look at it. Coming up to Starbucks, and I complain how crowded it is. Oh, you didn't hear me complain. I thought I complained on the video. So they didn't have a seat for me, no room in the inn, as it were. So I'm sitting outside eating my Choco Chunk scone, which you can almost see there. Sipping, waiting. And a few seconds after that, I saw a woman come down, so I figured there was a spot upstairs. So I went upstairs, and I was chowing down. The backs of these people's heads are kind of an interesting backdrop. They are unaware of being videoed, but their identities are concealed, so unless they happen upon this video on YouTube and are angered because they recognize the back of their head, I think we're safe. Look at my hands with the wet napkin that they give you there. I'm trying to log into the Wi-Fi, but unfortunately that didn't work for a long time. I finally figured out how to get it to work. I didn't have a particularly strong interest in using Wi-Fi. Whoops, my wife's dad is being noisy. It's Setsubun today. He's probably talking about the shopping he wants to do. So I'm working on the computer trying to connect the internet, and it's not cooperating. So I'll take a couple of moments, just as you watch me chowing down on the last of my scone, to discuss Numbercruncher. I read Numbercruncher on this visit to Starbucks, and I was super crazy impressed with it. It's really amazing. It kind of hit me like Matrix did the first time I saw Matrix, in that it had amazingly deep implications when you thought about it. It tells the story of a mathematician who on his deathbed realizes the secret of the universe mathematically, and because he made this achievement, he is kind of brought to the central hub of the universe, which is a kind of dingy, strange afterworld, afterlife. Quite like the music in the background. Hopefully it doesn't screw up the uploading of this video. I don't know if it's loud enough for people to actually catch it as a copyright problem. But anyway, so this man realizes the nature of the universe, and he's taken to the central hub of the universe. And he meets two men. One man is a kind of thug, a kind of tough guy, who works for the boss of the universe, who is this terrible little smarmy accountant who works with the numbers that control the whole universe. And the man makes a kind of Faustian bargain with the Numbercruncher at the center of the universe, the accountant at the center of the universe, that he can be given an extra year, or he can be given an extra life, as long as after that life is over, he will have to work as a servant, or more like a slave, for the Numbercruncher at the center of the universe for a number of years, for maybe many, many years or centuries, until he can find a replacement for himself. And the reason he wants to get this extra time on Earth is because he loved this wonderful woman, and he wants to spend time with her, and he wants to do it right. He was on his deathbed. He was not old. He was just sick. So he basically wants a second chance at life. So the Numbercruncher agrees to this. The Numbercruncher is kind of a bastard. He's kind of an awful, petty, terrible character. So he gives him an extra life, but he sets it a couple of more than a couple. He sets it like 40 or 50 years in the future. So the girl that the man loved is already much, much older than him.
And not only does he do that, he has him reincarnated not in the same area as the woman, but in a poverty-stricken area of Mumbai, India. So the mathematician makes the arrangement that he will be given the other life with his memories. He would have been recycled and given another life anyways, because that's the way the universe works. But if you don't have your memories, then you can not continue working on what you worked on in the past, which is what he wants to do. And so he's given his memories, and he has them from even a small baby. But he's poor and in Mumbai. So he has to fight his way back to the woman that he loves. And he does that. He's a teenager or thereabouts, and he makes it back to the woman he loves when she's on her deathbed. She's an elderly woman, and she's in a kind of a special commune around the year 2030 or something, very elderly, about to die. And when she dies, his contract will be over. His Faustian bargain will come due. So, his Faustian debt will come due. So, she dies, and the thuggish Numbercruncher comes to collect. So that should be the end of the story. But this mathematician plans ahead, and he made a deal with another number-crunching agent, another celestial being. So at the moment of his death, when this tough guy comes to take his life, which the way the system works is if you are one of the civil servants of the afterlife, if you are one of the workers of the afterlife, it means you have made a bargain with the afterlife celestial smarmy little accountant, and you must continue to work for him until you find a replacement. So this thuggish guy is really happy because he thinks he's about to be free from this slavery, this servitude. But then another agent pops up and says, no, I have a deal to give this man an extra life in order to get free from my own slavery in the future. So the thuggish guy is really pissed off, and the mathematician escapes, and the thuggish guy, in his anger, kills the other agent. And the rest of the story, or much of the rest of the story, is the agent chasing the mathematician, who keeps changing life after life, over a long period of time. Each time he is chasing this same woman. So he gets a new life, and it's a different body, but he has the same mind and the same memories. So he has to meet and fall in love with the woman again and again, many, many times. And each time he does, the agent of the celestial account will come and kill him again and again and again and again. You really have to read it. I cannot explain it, and I don't want to explain too much so that I destroy it for you, that I spoil it for you. But it's really interesting with lots of twists and turns. The agent doesn't actually kill him. He has a weapon, an accident gun, that when he wants to take someone out of this life, he shoots it, and it doesn't hit and kill the person. It just causes something terrible to happen, so the person dies. So he keeps chasing the guy, and the guy is always one step ahead of him with his reincarnations. And what the man doesn't realize is he is giving the woman he loves a miserable life, because he keeps appearing in her life as a reincarnation, as a new version of himself. And she doesn't realize it's him again and again. She keeps thinking that she is meeting nice guys. But it's this horrible pattern of her lover has just died, and along comes a new guy who is wonderful and loves her truly and purely and completely, and then that lover dies because the number-crunching thug comes and shoots the accident gun and kills him, and it happens again and again and again. So from the mathematician's perspective, he is chasing her and being true to his love, but from her perspective, she is cursed. Every time she meets someone who loves her, she cannot be happy because that person will die almost immediately after meeting her. The reason he dies almost immediately is because the number-crunching thug cannot trace the mathematician directly, but he knows the mathematician's goal, which is to meet up and to spend time with the woman he loves. So he's always watching her, and if anyone approaches her that seems to know too much or seems to like her too much too immediately, there are clues that it is the same guy being reincarnated again and again. And it's just really interesting because he's becoming more and more frustrating, and like every time he encounters and kills using his accident gun the mathematician, another agent will pop up and say, but I have a deal, but I have a deal, but I have a deal. And all of these deals, in a way, must be honored. So he kills those other agents. So there are fewer and fewer agents working with him in the celestial accountancy afterlife. And he is becoming more and more desperate to catch this mathematician that seems to be able to beat the system because he's so intelligent. And it's just really fascinating. I won't tell you any more about it because you should read it for yourself. It's complex, it's deep, the art is interesting, sometimes a tiny bit grotesque, but not particularly grotesque. There's only one scene that I can really think of that is grotesque, but it is really well worth reading. So I'm going to pause this narration now and have the final narration on the walk home from Starbucks, because I have a lot more images of me here just sitting and reading in my Love Beer t-shirt with my red suspenders that you can sometimes see peeking out. But I will continue with a final concluding set of statements on the walk home. Okay, so just before I start the walk, I did capture some of the artwork from this. This is the main character, the protagonist, being born in Mumbai as a small baby. And this is him as the adult mathematician. His Indian mom. Oh, he remembers who he was. Same as he wanted, but it don't change the facts. So it's a very complicated situation for him. He becomes like a child genius because he has the intelligence and mind of an adult genius mathematician. And that's how he makes some money in order to go to America and find the woman he loves. Anyways, okay, we're on the walk home. And this looks kind of dark and sinister and creepy at night, but it's not in any way. On the left is this cute little bar that I've never been to. Looks like a whiskey bar. I can't tell if it's a private one. The windows are open, so sometimes you can see inside, so it's probably not that private. Coming up here, if I turn right, it'll be the movie poster place, but instead I turn left, so I'm going back towards that Thai restaurant, which is now all lit up. I started to say before, that's probably the third or fourth best Thai restaurant in this area. This area has really good Thai food, and that's not the best, unfortunately. The best is just really, really, really good. It's called Kon Thai. You should look it up and go there. It's wonderful and very popular. So we're coming up on Haruna Ai's place. I don't think she ever goes there anymore. You can't really see her face because of that really bright light. If I tilt it just a little bit, yeah, you can kind of see Haruna Ai's face. And on the right up here is the Pink Monster, private, sketchy, strange cocktail bar or hostess bar. I'm not quite sure what. But anyways, as we're making our way in the darkness, I'll just make a couple more statements about Numbercruncher. I thought it was a really interesting idea upon which it was based, and I thought that it was really great storytelling and art. It reminded me a little bit of a comic proposition player, where a poker player can beat the system using his cleverness, beat the celestial supernatural afterlife by using his cleverness with poker. And Numbercruncher is about someone doing something like that using, up here on the left is quite a tasty Taiwanese restaurant, but too expensive. So the mathematician is able to beat the system using mathematics. And I'm not a religious person at all. I think religion causes a lot of problems in the world, and I wish it wouldn't cause those problems. I don't know, what's beyond this life, if anything is beyond this life. And if anything is beyond this life, I do not know if we can know it or not. But I can imagine somehow at the core of the universe, at the core of being, might be mathematics. Mathematics seems in some ways very pure and basic and wholly important in the universe. And in a way, unchanging. If something is solved, if it's truly solved and proven to be solved with mathematics, it doesn't seem to change. And mathematics is at the core of science and, the actual act and process of understanding the basic components of life. So I found it fascinating, the idea that who was it that understood the nature of the universe and could access the powers that be behind the universe? Not a priest, not a spiritual guy living on the top of a mountain, but a mathematician. He's the one who could see eventually that which is at the center of all things. It's a fantasy story, a very interesting fantasy story, and I hope that you'll read it. It's my own personal copy, which I bought for my own personal use, but I think I will put it in the shared section of the English section for those who are at my university. And I hope that those who are not at my university, or those who are especially interested, will buy it. It's not that expensive, and it's a wonderful story. So I'm coming up to an intersection. This is near one of the biggest police stations in this area of Tokyo. And all has gone black and dark, like perhaps will happen at the end of the story of someone's life, if there is no celestial accountant at the center of the universe. And it's gotten kind of creepy now, so I think I'll end at this point. I hope you found this video interesting. It's just under 30 minutes long, which is probably too long, but maybe some of you will have the ambition to listen to it. Enjoy your day, enjoy your life,